All right, guys, we are talking AI update for physical therapy. Now, as most people listening to this know, we do not work for AI companies. We are not selling things. We are not promoted by AI companies. We're users. We're business owners, right? Like Brian's got 5 clinics. He's trying to get more clinics.
Yeah.
He's trying to figure out his operations and systems. I had a history in that, but now I'm more of a cash-based mobile practice. So we are full-time owners,
Yeah. Yeah.
and we are not promoting jack shit.
Well, I think
So
too, the idea behind this podcast and like the AI updates was I was like, I finally found a good one. You know what I mean? Well, and I think on our last podcast you were
no,
talking about it. Yeah,
all of them are
you're
good. They're pushing and optimizing, leveraging, synergizing physical therapy towards a brighter future for your
exactly.
patient, earning less, 10% less from Medicare every year.
I
Uh,
know. I feel like one of the things you had talked about with AI that I think was so funny was you were talking about a headline that felt like it was a headline that was written by AI supporting AI, right? Like it
yeah,
wasn't like if they got a true human, I'd be like AI is kind of good and kind of sucks. It's not, you know what I
yeah.
mean? It's not
AI is all right if you're
exactly,
rich.
exactly. Like I think again, yeah, exactly. I think it's getting better. Like I'm a huge fan of ChatGPT. I think the
Yeah.
ChatGPT for the business owner can be super, super helpful for a lot of different things. But again, it's
But
very one dimensional.
before we break into this too, right?
Yeah,
I just want to because Brian's going to talk mostly about PT stuff, but I'm talking more like business. I talked to this lady who's a car dealer or car auto mechanic person,
yeah,
and she wanted cold email lists, and she gave me this company, and they're like, oh yeah, sure, we'll call. So I have a call with them, right? And they're like, yeah, we'll give you 50 credits. I was like, ooh, what's a credit, right? And they're like, okay,
yeah,
we use AI to scrape the internet to get contact information for people. I'm like, okay, cool, that'll save me time. Like that's annoying to go to golf people's sites, right? They're like, a credit is one of those people. And I'm like, okay, and how much is a credit? They're basically charging like $3,000 like a month
and this
for
is
like a list of something. I'm like,
yeah.
okay.
This is
Like,
this is what's going on with AI so far is that they're trying to charge a ton of money for some shitty stuff. Like
that's it.
and yeah, yeah,
I mean, $3,000. You do the whole math of like, okay, if I was full with patients, like all that stuff, I'd be like, I could create 100-person list
yeah,
in an hour,
yeah.
right? Hour and a half, right?
There are plenty of bad apps out there. Doesn't mean that this
Uh,
is what I use. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So no,
Anyway,
I
that was a
totally agree.
diversion. Now we're going to talk PT. So Brian
Yeah.
is implementing this stuff in his
So
clinic. He's been trying these things, trying to optimize. So you got some updates for us on what sucks, what's good, all that.
I'm gonna start with a good one. I'm gonna start with one good one. I mean, ChatGPT, you guys know is good, but I'm gonna talk to one that I think is really, really good. And I'm actually gonna give a plug to our bill. Again, I'm gonna give a plug to our billing company, Athelis, and then I'm gonna shit on Athelis a little bit. How's that sound? So I'm gonna be
There you
very
go.
neutral. We're gonna come out neutral on Athelis. So what I found with Athelis with our billing company, they have implemented a new Scribe tool. And I think a lot of companies are going to come out with this, particularly EMRs and billing companies. This Scribe tool is awesome. It's fantastic. And I would tell you, Owen, we've been PTs for now almost 15 years. What is the number one shittiest part of our job? By far,
Documentation.
documentation,
Yeah.
hands down. If I said, hey, why are you a cash PT? The reality of it is because they don't want to do documentation for insurance
I mean,
companies.
it's a big part.
That's a big part. And so for those people who are like cash PTs, so I can treat people more one on one, blah blah, they're full of shit. They just hate documentation. That's what it is. Like
Well, I
if
don't
you
know
want
about
to be
full of shit, but yes, that's a big push.
if
It's nice to never have to know what
if
a
I
fucking
said
code
come work
is.
if I said come work for me, I do 1-on-1 for 40 minutes, and they're like, well, I want to do it in a cash based system. It's because you don't want to write a fucking note. I
All
totally get
right, all
it.
right, all
I'm
right,
not
all right.
again
Dogs called off.
not judging, but I'm just saying it.
All right, so
Now,
you're saying the scribe
yeah,
thing's good. Is that the one where they just listen into the whole conversation
yes,
and like the patient? But okay, so my first question before you talk about it is,
yeah.
how's that conversation with the patient of like, hey, by the way, this thing is going to be listening and recording this whole thing?
Great question because we already have some feedback on it, and I told that person to fuck off. But I will tell you the same thing that I was saying
Okay.
anyway. So basically, the way it works is basically it goes basically syncs up with your schedule, right? So basically, I click on the patient, right? And then
Yep.
it basically says record a new scribe. And then all I do is keep a microphone on me just because for better audio. I'm sure you can keep your phone out or whatever, but it'd be annoying. So to have a microphone on you. And then what happens is you start having a good dialogue and conversation with the patient. And before you know it, it's like it's the session's over. And then all you do is you say, okay, record, and boom, it's done. And it comes up with a note for you. And if you do it correctly, plugs right into WebPT, which is what we use for documentation. I'm sure we'll plug into other documentation. Game changer, right? Like, because now all of a sudden that like 6 to 10 hours of documentation you have every week gone, right? Essentially. And so that was a monster that I'm like, this is one of the ones I'm super bullish on because this is going to be a big thing. Now, Owen already pointed out one that we have gotten. One patient was like, you really should let us know that you're recording me. Fuck off, bro. Like, are you serious? Like you're not that fucking important. And two, like at the same time, I'm going to report this to your insurance company. So like, I'm going to write about you. I'm just documenting our conversation through this AI thing. Well, the internet's going to have it. Shut the fuck up, Elon Musk. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think the whole.
Okay. So I'm going to push back. I'm going to push back a little bit on that.
Go ahead and I'll tell you.
Because there's a difference between like direct recording and like a secondary, logging of it. Right. And I don't know. Like I could see. So is the reason you don't tell people just because it takes time, or are you worried about that pushback?
Like, listen, I'm not saying I'm not recording. I'll literally say, hey, we're using this new Scribe tool. Like, I got it. Like, if you see this microphone, like, I'm just recording it for your insurance company for when we, do your documentation.
That's all I would do. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think one of the guys,
if they say, hey, I'd rather not, then be like, okay, fine.
No, that's where I disagree. Right? If you say I'd rather not, I'd say, all right, then pay the 115, the 130 cash rate because I'm not writing your fucking note, bro. That's what I would say.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like that's how I look at it. I look at it as, well, don't report it to my insurance company. Well, then pay the cash rate.
Yeah, right? I would always say that to patients who would be like, well, I don't want you to write that down. I'm like, dude, you just told me. Like, I'm going to write it down.
And by the way, the people who are like, don't write that down, don't tell my insurance company that. I'd be like, bro, like,
they are in the business that I'm worried about losing.
Exactly. So like that's the way I look at it is like for those people, like again, and again, we're joking around here, but the reality is for those of you who are listening to this podcast who think that not every single government, particularly American government, knows everything about you already, you're out of your mind, right? Like number one, you're being recorded all the time. We've all probably been on camera today 1,000 times already walking around in the world. So the fact that like AI is now involved, like you're talking about quantum computing, get ready for breach of privacy, whatever. But to me, we've always been reporting. Like, I think one of the things that I have a real pet peeve about in general, I was talking about this with my wife this morning about other things. In the world of like inflation, right? Inflation. When you think about it, what do businesses always say? Well, if we're charged more, we'll have to pass it on to the customer, right?
Yep.
Right? That's the reality. When you think about anything positive about inflation or anything that happens in healthcare, we are the bitch slapped of like all the people on the planet when it comes to anything money wise, right? We were always told if you want to make money in healthcare, right, Owen, we're evil, right? All this shit. We are the doormat of like capitalism. So if the one fucking perk of AI is going to be that I don't have to do the shittiest part of my job and people are going to complain about it, I'm sorry, I'm going to kick you in the fucking nuts. Like, I don't understand. Like, that to me is the biggest pet peeve I've ever had, right? Like, it's
and that's where I think, the hard part for you is going to be like, what happens with that one patient where you do say like, okay, you got to pay the cash rate. And then they say, well, based on my insurance, you take my insurance. So like, why? And then the question is
we've gone in the circle of this is how I document my notes for your insurance company.
Well, and that's the thing, right? Is so like when that first comes up, if I was you, I'd be just prepared for the fact of the conversation with the insurance company who says, well, it's breach of contract, you're refusing to treat an in-network subscriber, for you to be able to say, look, this is how we write notes. Like he's basically telling me don't write a note. Yes. And this is how we do it. And this is the company that does it for us. Everything's HIPAA compliant. Everything's all the stuff that it needs to be for it to be, safe and recorded. That person's just they can choose to go somewhere else.
To your point, that's where it's not breach of contract. Because if I'm saying this is how I write, it's no different than if a physical therapist said, don't write anything to my insurance company. Like that, you just can't do that. Like that's not how that works, right? Just like
and that would be the question that I would have sitting in a room with a Thelis or whoever it is, right? And saying, okay, if I get this person who says, I say, look, our business is now based on the fact that I don't have to give my PTs documentation time, which, let's be honest, a lot of people don't even give them documentation time, but like I will maybe fit an extra person in here where now I won't, because I know that guy's got to finish his note. You're hampering my ability to be profitable by forcing me to document this note. Do you back me up? Right. So like, that's where Thelis has to be able to say, like, this is a new way of doing it. This would be as if you were to say to somebody, if you don't write paper notes, well, I'm not coming to your physical therapy clinic. Like, you're not going to completely take out your EMR and scan that in, and then that person says, well, it's breach of contract if you don't write paper notes. Right.
Let me, for those who are actually listening to this and talking about it, let me all let you in on a secret. I love Owen, and I love how, like, by the book he's being right here. My tendency is going to be to make so much fun of you that you are like feeling ashamed of you talking that way to me, right? Like that's my personality. My personality haven't been
sued big enough yet.
Exactly. my personality is, if someone's like, you really should let people know you're recording, you'll be like, I'm doing this for your insurance company for notes. This is how I write my notes. What are you complaining about? You're on literally if you walk in my facility, I go, you're on video on my phone here and here. Every one of our places has cameras. I go, when you walk into any of my facilities, we've got cameras here and here. Or do you not want to be on camera either? Are you really telling me that you think
not me? It's the civil court judge in Darien, Connecticut. That's all I'm saying.
No, but even the civil court judge, like, if it's like, wow, it's like it's people think that they should be able to say anything they want anytime now. And I would tell you to shut the fuck up, right? Like, that's what I'm just saying. Like, I would say, like, and that's my reaction. I think when it comes to that, like, I was so blown away by the fact that, like, someone did say something. Now, by the way, one person, and this is the problem. This is the problem with physical therapists, for those listening, and this is why I have such a strong reaction for it, because I do know that typically for physical therapy, like physical therapists, typically the response for most people is to actually stop using it because one person said something negative, right? 100%. And so this is why I'm such a staunch defender of this, is because one fucking person had a weird moment with a microphone. It was like, you really should let people know. Now all of a sudden, none of our therapists want to use it anymore. That's fucking crazy. And so to me, that's the problem, right?
I'm pro you. Like, if I open this clinic, I would say, look, the amount of money that I'm gonna, and time and retention of my therapist, because that's the big thing here. Really, what we're talking about is not you can squeeze in an extra visit. It's the fact that I don't have to go looking for a new therapist because they are like annoyed with documentation. Now, they will be at other places too, but if you happen to be the one with the AI Scribe, that's a big retention piece, right? Right. So I would say, yeah, okay, whatever, sue me. Like, go nuts. Like, take it all the way to this one thing. What's likely going to happen is they're just going to go down the street. Like, that one guy is going to be like, well, they record me down there. Right. And then he's going to go to the clinic down the street and he's going to be, well, you don't record me, do you? And then what's going to happen to the therapist that hears that? Like, oh shit, the guy down the street has AI Scribe. I'm going to go apply over there. Right. So it's honestly going to be a recruitment tool. Right. So like, that's where I think that in real life, it'll be like that. I think that from the PR standpoint of like, yes, you should have that conversation like you are having of like, hey, by the way, I'm using an AI Scribe. That's why the microphone's here, just so that this is what's happening. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. And you have that as a very short thing in your initial evaluation. You just know this is how we document here, right? I think this is awesome, right? Because that was my other worry is like, are you spending a bunch of time just rewriting this note? Like, is it a pretty good note?
Oh my God, it's a great note. It's like, this note is way better than the note that I generally write.
So what's the time save, I guess, is my question. Like, how long does it take you to review the note versus how long did it take you to write the note?
6 to 10 hours. Easy. So like total. If I see 60 patients, by the way, that's the cool part that Scribe does, is actually shows you everything that you do. I have found it's better to like copy and paste the stuff like manually into my note, so I don't have to think about it. It just is all done, but it writes like a killer note, down to like if I looked at some of the, and again, particularly on evals, like on
Yeah.
evaluations, like that's where it's huge, because it's like
Well,
so
and
and so
that's going to
presents with
save.
right shoulder pain. The pain is located on the side of the shoulder. The pain has started about a month ago and it's persistent. Initially, he thought the pain was in his elbow, but then it had doctor identified that it was his shoulder. Like it literally knocks it down. Then it's like general, like X amount old, old male. I'm literally reading it off this thing. Alert and oriented, right shoulder, limited internal rotation. Right. And
Well, and
again,
this is what insurance companies would ding us on, right? And this is where we
exactly.
would have a billing company that would be like, ah, shit,
Exactly. That's why.
We got Jimmy's notes over here, and we can't make Jimmy write an actual more than one line assessment. Well, now
Exactly.
Jimmy doesn't have to do shit, right? And it's
Exactly.
exactly where it is. So they can't pull back and say, well, you didn't accurately document how they tolerated treatment that day.
Yeah. 100%. So
Day.
that's what.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying, like, for the 1 in a million person, not even 1 in a million, because I'm sure it's gonna be more than 1 in a million, but the person who's complaining about that, just tell them to shut the fuck up. That's my take on it. I'm just telling them to shut up.
And I think the average patient is just gonna be like, yeah, okay, fine, whatever. Like, fix my knee.
Exactly. Should be like, hey, I'm just like we use it. It's no different than dictating the session to somebody who manually typed it up. That's what I would say to people. It's no different. We've done that for years.
They see the cars we drive. They're not
exactly.
They're not sitting here saying like, "Oh, he's getting an extra boat out of this."
100%.
They see the Toyota Highlander in the front.
Exactly. So like I said, my bigger concern is that people being assholes are going to force us to keep doing something that we like otherwise. Like, again, if you really want to go down the rabbit hole of how this all came about, and there, you and I, Owen, remember when there were paper charts, right? And those paper charts were super easy. And then it was down during the Obama years where everything was under one roof, and EHR and EMR and all that stuff. And I remember being like, I want to go on a computer. It's gonna be 1,000 times easier. And then it became way more detailed. And then people really made it. And so again, from a paper chart perspective, when we went to EMRs, the documentation time skyrocketed for sure. Yeah. I don't even want to get into. I don't work in a hospital, but I don't want to work in a what's the Epics, right? The Epics.
World. I've had to use it, and there's so much clicking.
It's crazy. Yeah. And so those evaluations take forever, right? And so all of a sudden something like this comes along, it's an innovation that actually takes something that sucks off of our plate, and people have the balls to fucking bitch about it to us. Come on. Come off your soapbox, bro. I mean, that's just my take on it. Like, and I will defend physical therapy. I will defend it till the day I die, if that's it. Because to your point, not just from a retention perspective, for me, it's just the aspect of like insurance rates are going down and so and we're gonna and we have technology that's actually gonna help us. Let's go. Like, let's have that ability to do that. So that's my take on it for sure.
I agree completely. And this is, especially for the percentage of people who are doing it right. Like, I could share some war stories of, when you're a PRN therapist in Arizona, you get no business in the summer, you got to start taking shifts.
Yeah.
The people who listen to this podcast are a very small percentage of the PTs out there. There are so many out there that are just zooming by in life, man. It's like, whatever, sure. Joe Smith, go do your thing. So anything that makes the more passionate people able to be able to push the profession forward, I'm all for it.
For sure, man. For sure. I totally agree with you. So,
well, I know we kind of titled this episode of like all the stuff that's good and bad, but like we basically kind of went on like but I mean, that's the thing I've been wanting to know. Like, I'm flicking through LinkedIn and everyone's trying to sell me RTM this and Scribe that and all that. And I was like, yeah, okay, but in the real world though, like how awkward is that you're recording a session now? Right.
Yeah, I don't think it's that bad. Yeah.
That's where I think I agree with you. I think it's like there's gonna be one or two people that are pissed, they're gonna go somewhere else, and then all those therapists want to work for you because they heard how your therapists aren't documenting near as much.
For sure. And I think the reality of the Scribe tool for most people, as like writing an eval or re-eval is really weird. And by the way, the other thing you can do with the Scribe tool is you can do it after the fact. So say somebody really got into you on it and you didn't want to lose the business. You're like, I really need this patient, right?
Yeah.
You could just go in afterwards and just literally dictate it like, I saw Owen, he had left knee pain, blah, blah, blah. And like you could talk through it for like a minute or two and dictate it, and it'll come up with a sick note too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you could also do it that way also. So like, again, there's the backdoor loophole if you needed to. but still tell that patient to fuck off too. That's good. Right? And that's also because like people need to get off their fucking high horse. People need a little slap in the face a little bit.
It is so funny to see the corporate trained guy talk to the
I know.
scrap guy.
I know. Exactly.
I have like HR bells going off. I have like, like a PR and all this shit. And you're just like, fuck them.
Exactly. For sure. Fuck them.
Gotta make sure I put an explicit on this when I produce
I
it.
know, exactly.
All right.
Awesome. Cool. All right, man.
All right, my man. We are out. See you later.